you agree to do this interview with the BBC?
I don't know. I like spontaneity, and I don't know. There's a lot going on, and it seems like I actually do have a lot of respect for the BBC. Although sometimes I forget what the BBC stands for, you know. But what is it? Just kidding.
You know what it stands for.
Yes, I do. So there's a lot going on. So I thought this might be a good opportunity to answer some questions, and I guess maybe get some feedback too. What should we be doing different? I know the BBC, for example, is not thrilled about being labelled state-affiliated media.
Not exactly. I mean, I was going to get to that later, but let's go for it now. It's officially objected to that term. Do you want to respond to it?
Yeah. So our goal is simply to have, to be as truthful and accurate as possible. So I think we're adjusting the label to be publicly funded, which I think is perhaps not too objectionable. We're trying to be accurate.
I'm not the BBC, but publicly funded is how the BBC describes it.
Okay. So that would be accurate.
Itself.
If we use the same words that the BBC uses to describe itself,
right,
that presumably would be okay. I'm not asking you for a yes or no, since you're not running the BBC per se. But it seems to pass a reasonable.
So you're going to change those labels on the BBC Twitter feed and also NPRs as well?
Yeah.
Right.
Publicly funded. Basically, that's we're trying to be as accurate as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fine. First of all, I just want to clear something up. Are you sleeping in the office? Here?
I sometimes sleep in the office.
Like?
In the library.
5 days a week?
No.
3 days a week?
I'm not here 5 days a week. But there's a library that nobody goes to on the 7th floor, and there's a couch there, and I sleep there sometimes.
Okay. In terms of the general overview, the reason why I think you've agreed to do this is because you wanted to talk about the first 6 months as chief executive owner of Twitter.
Yeah, it's kind of like whatever you want to talk about, you know?
Right. So how do you think it's gone?
Well, it's not been boring. It's been quite a roller coaster. Things are going, I think, reasonably well. I mean, we've seen some all-time highs in terms of total user time. So we passed 8 billion user minutes per day, which is a lot of user minutes. So usage is up, growth is good, the site works mostly. We have a few glitches here and there, but the site is working fairly well. And we're doing it with a small fraction of the original, headcount. So,
I mean, you mentioned outages there. There have been several. Yeah. And we've actually spoken to an engineer who works at Twitter, and they said that the plumbing is broken here and it's on fire and there could be problems at any minute. Do you accept that?
No, I mean, there have been a few outages, but not for very long, and it's currently working fine.
So it doesn't keep you up at night that Twitter might go offline again?
At this point, I think we've got a pretty good handle on what makes Twitter work. And we're also doing it with 2 data centers instead of 3.